Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over how to color your artwork in Procreate and stay inside the lines. We'll be using reference layers, color holds, and the nifty drag and drop color feature in Procreate. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is open the Procreate application. So on your iPad, locate your app and click on the icon. From here, we'll be taken directly into our gallery. This is where all of the artwork that we create in Procreate is saved and stored. We're going to focus on the top right and click on the plus sign. Underneath it, we're going to click on the plus sign inside of the rectangle in order for us to create a custom canvas. Our width for this project is going to be 1920, the height 1080 at 300 dpi is perfectly fine. We'll click on done and then create. Now we are looking at our canvas. We're going to pinch it, make it smaller. We're going to click on the wrench on the top left. We're going to click on drawing guide and make sure it is on and highlighted. We're going to select edit drawing guide right underneath it. And at the bottom, you'll see a brand new menu. We're going to go all the way over to symmetry. And we're going to adjust our thickness. I like to have it at 50%, and our opacity, I like having it at 42%. 43 is fine. At the top right, click done, and now you are all set up to do your drawing. Now that we have set up our canvas, let me show you a quick example of the color drop tool. This is just 3 circles, 2 circles, and 1 ellipse that I created to show you this example of color drop. On the top right, select the color you'd like and then drag, and as you can see, the color will follow your finger or your pencil on the canvas until you release it. Let's release it, and it completely fills that part of your drawing. Let's pick a second color, and as you can see, again, it's the color drop tool. It's very handy when you're working in Procreate. We'll drop it. Let's pick our final color. Let's drag and drop. So this is the example of the color drop feature in Procreate. Let's move on to Alpha Lock. For this example, let's pick 3 different colors. Let's drag and color drop. Cancel. Let's make sure we're on the right layer. Okay, we're pulling our first color, we're going to drop it. Let's pick our second color. We're going to drop it into our drawing. And our third color, we're going to drop it. Here, if you wanted to go in and shade your orange, for example, let's click on that orange again. Let's go into our brushes. Let's select an airbrush, a soft blend. Let's make it a little darker. And if we tried to go in, as you can see, you're coloring in and outside of the line. So this is where Alpha Lock comes in, and it's very handy. Let's undo at the bottom. Let's go back into your layers, click inside of the box of the layer, go into Alpha Lock toward the center, select it, close. Now let's go ahead and do that again with your brush. And as you can see, the color stays inside of your lines. We can also select, and we can do that as well. This is so that let's pick a more vibrant color. Let's pick a hard airbrush, and as you can see, you can only cover color inside of your Alpha Lock. Your Alpha Lock is when you lock the transparency of a layer. Any further drawing or painting will only affect the existing artwork on the layer. Transparent parts will be untouched. Now, let's go and turn on our reference layer. Let's go into our reference layer. We're going to create a new layer, layer 4, and drag it underneath our reference layer. Now we're going to go back into the reference layer, tap in the reference layer for the options, and then toward the bottom you'll see an option that says reference layer. We're going to turn that on. We're going to go back into layer 4 and close the layers. Let's grab a color and let's drop it. Let's drag our second color and let's drop it. And our fourth and our third and final color and drop it. Now, if you go into the layers, you'll notice that your colors exist in their own layer. Because when you use and activate the reference feature in a layer, the reference layers help you create color fills that respect the lines in a separate layer. This helps keep your color files and lines separate. Your color drop and fills will behave as though they are following your work on a reference layer above. So, if I turn off my line work, you can clearly see where your color is and it's how it's separated. You can zoom in and you can see get a better view of it. Now I can go into layers and turn back my line work. In this way, you are working non-destructively. Your lines of your artwork are always separate from the colors that you add until you're ready to merge your drawing into one and work on your final piece. But let's take this one more step and do color holds. On your reference layer, click one more time, select Alpha Lock. On this layer, it is a reference layer and you are also using Alpha Lock. So let's go back into colors. Let's go into your color picker, select the purple. Now go into your colors here and let's go into a lighter color here. Now, using our brush, let's use a hard airbrush. We can now color your line work on its own layer. So now you are able to color your lines. So let's color pick and pick the orange. And on that orange, let's go lighter into a yellow. Let's click one more time onto airbrush, hard airbrush, and let's make this brush smaller and let's color in those lines. You can always zoom in if you need to or want to. Let's do that here because these lines are very close and that is something you will have to work around. Unless those lines are on a separate layer, you can go in and just manually touch them up. And finally, with your color picker, let's pick this very light green and let's take it into a deep dark green. And let's one more time select our brush. And now, as you can see, all you are coloring now is your line work. And of course, this, because the lines touch, you will have to play with this a little more, but this is what you can do using a reference layer and Alpha Lock on that layer. This is where I'll just show you what I came up with in Procreate using the symmetry tool. Enjoy. Now that I am done creating my character in Procreate using vertical symmetry, it's time to start coloring. The most important thing to know about a reference layer is the following. If you're using a reference layer in order to color your artwork, you are working in a non-destructive way, meaning that all the colors that you add to the layers beneath your reference layer never actually touch your line work. Let me show you. Let me click on my layers. You'll notice that my character line art is in layer 1. Right underneath where it says layer 1, it says assisted, which would make sense because I created this character using Procreate vertical symmetry. But let's tap inside of the square for the new menu. And toward the bottom, you'll notice it says reference. We're going to tap on that to select it and activate it. We're going to create a new layer, click on it, and drag it underneath layer 1. Now, we're going to go into our color picker, select any color, and drag and drop it. As you can see, it fills the hair perfectly. You can zoom in and it's inside of the lines. We're going to go into the layers, tap on layer 2 for the new menu, Then we're going to select Drawing Assist. Now we're going to close that menu out. We're going to pick our color again and now drop it. And you'll notice that now, because I turned symmetry on our second layer, layer 2, we now fill both sides of the hair. That now that I have the hair selected, I click on layers, I click on layer 2 and I rename it, and I call it hair. Enter. Now that layer 2 has hair, I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to go into my color picker, select a color, and I'm going to drag and drop it into the face, because I'm going to select every part of my character that has skin. Select the layer, rename the layer, and call it skin. Enter. The reason that I do this in my artwork is simple. Now that I have a skin layer, I can now go into the menu again by tapping on it and select Alpha Lock. Now that I have a layer with just my character skin on it, let's close this layer, go into the color picker, select a darker color as if you were going to start rendering the skin on this character. We're going to select a brush, an airbrush. We're going to go into our layer here. You see you're on layer on the skin on its own. We're going to click on the layer, tap on the layer one more time to open the menu, and we're going to select Alpha Lock. What Alpha Lock does is any color underneath, any pixel underneath your reference layer is now locked. So if we turn off the hair and then still on the skin layer, we close the menu, and now we have a darker color and we start coloring, you'll notice that no matter where I go, it's only going to color inside of our Alpha Lock. It's a really great tip. But what I want to do next is we're going to undo by clicking on the arrows. We're going to go into the skin, tap on it again, and we're going to turn on Drawing Assist. So now what I do to one side of the face, because it is symmetrical, it'll show up on the other, and it gives you a nice smooth gradient. So from this point on, I want you to stick to the basics. I want you to go into your layers, delete the hair, delete the skin, create a layer. And in each layer, I want you to place the color that corresponds with the piece of your drawing that you want to color. For example, I'm going to have a hair layer, a skin layer, I'm going to have a armor layer, I'm going to have her headdress in a separate layer, and with just basic different colors. If you know your color scheme, this is the time to add it. And let me come back and show you what I have. If you're finding this tutorial useful and helpful, make sure to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. This is what my layers look like now. I have the very top layer 1. It is my reference layer. It only contains the line work of my art. Underneath it, I have all of the color fills using the color drop tool for every part of my drawing. From here, it is just a matter of rendering each one using color drop, Alpha Lock. Let me show you what I came up with. Enjoy. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. You now know how to use the color drop feature in Procreate. You now know how to use alpha lock on a layer, and you now know how to use a reference layer. If you liked this video, make sure to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, take care of yourself.